button. So I'd like to welcome you all to this Empathy Cafe, and it's an introduction to the Empathy Circle Facilitation Training. It's also a practice group for the Empathy Circle. It's great to see everyone here, and so glad that you could join us. I'm Edwin Rutch. I'm director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy, and for about the past 13 years, I've been working quite intensely on our center, which has the goal of building a more empathic society and culture. And we do all kinds of different projects on building a more empathic society and world. And if you can just mute too, appreciate that. And so we have a lot of different projects that we do. We have a large social media community. We have something called the Empathy Tent that we take out to public events and offer empathic listening and conflict mediation. And we also have a training, and that's what we're going to be reviewing here today. We're going to be looking at the Empathy Circle practice, which I find is the most effective first step gateway practice for learning empathy skills and listening skills, and really excited about this practice. And we have the goal of spreading it as widely as possible. And I'm going to just start off by doing a screen share here, just showing what an overview of what our agenda is for today. And this is, so I'm giving the welcome right now, and then we're going to, usually if we have a smaller group, we hear from everyone, have just participant introductions. Since we're a larger group, we'll hear from some of the facilitators here, people who have taken the Empathy Circle Facilitator Training. And then we'll have a review of the training and some questions and answers about it. And then we'll show a short 6-minute video on how to take part in Empathy Circle. And then we'll have an Empathy Circle fishbowl, small group. You can see how it works. And then we'll go into some breakout Empathy Circles where everyone will get to experience how the Empathy Circle works, get some practice with it, and then do a full group debrief. And so I will start then, just in terms of introductions. We have people who have taken the training before and they have ECF after their name. So I'm just going to quickly go through, have them introduce themselves, your name, like Edwin Rutch, where you're from, the San Francisco Bay Area, and why you're interested in empathy circles. And for me, it's because I think the empathy circle, as I mentioned, is the best first step gateway practice to learning empathy skills. And I want everyone in the world, all almost 8 billion people in the world right now, to learn this practice, because I think it'll just contribute to greater well-being. So I just go across the screen here. Larry, would you just do a short intro, name, location, and why you're interested in empathy circles?
So I'm Larry in Florida. I love empathy circles. I think it's what I need, you need, the world needs, we all need. Save the planet, please. Thank you.
Thanks. Stefan?
Good morning. I'm Steven. I'm from Santa Fe, New Mexico in the US. My life has been changing with the practice of empathy, not just in these circles, but out there in my life, where I have gained a much greater ability to listen to what people are actually trying to say to me, which is like pretty basic.
You know where he is.
Thanks.
And Kathy?
Yes, I'm from Houston, Texas, and I originally came here to bring something to an organization that I work with, the Peace Alliance, and I fell in love, and I come to get empathy and to be with all of you beautiful people. You have so many beautiful faces, look around. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Thanks. Linda? You're muted, Linda.
I always forget to do that. Linda Bass, Keller, Texas. This is a wonderful experience for me. it's a new way of communicating with people. So I'm glad everybody's here. We're going to have some fun today.
Thanks, Bill.
Yeah, I'm Bill Filler. I'm a retired special education teacher. I've been working with Edwin online and in, like he said, Empathy 10th Street Actions for about 4 years. And I'm love the Empathy Circle. I've seen the effects of it. Also I'm interested in helping to institute it in schools. So I'll put some contact information in the chat if you're interested. And then if you're interested in that project, let me know. Thanks.
Thanks, Bill. Shannon?
Hi, everyone. I'm Shannon. I'm located in Brattleboro, Vermont. I'm quite interested in empathy circles and have found it really powerful just to bring the extra step of acknowledging what someone's saying kind of into all aspects of my own life, and not just listening to respond, but truly listening to kind of what people in your life are saying. So happy to be here. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Shannon. Dominic?
Yeah, thanks, Edwin. I'm Dominic. I'm from the San Francisco, California area. I joined originally because I'm a psychology student, so I thought it would help my future career as hopefully a therapist. But like Shannon and Stephen, I stayed because I realized I don't listen to my family and friends as much as I thought I do. So it kind of helps me in my real life. So yeah, welcome. Thank you.
Thanks. Raid?
Sure. Raed Hamza, from hot Arizona. I actually work in IT, and I was given a feedback that I'm not the greatest listener. So that's what got me started into with empathy circles, and then I got hooked up. I noticed that it's a good way to bring polar opposite people and opinions closer to one another, and it gives you some new skills that you can implement in your day-to-day activities.
Okay, I think that's all of our facilitators. So next we want to give you a bit of an overview of the training. So Bill is going to be reviewing the site, training site. Do you want to take it over, Bill?
Sure. So I'll share my screen now. And here we go. And can everybody see that? Okay. So this is the landing page for the course. These are the very attractive and people from one of our previous cohorts. And so just to go through, this is an open source empathy training. So you can use this and modify it for your own uses if you want, and incorporate it into other trainings. And so that's fine. There is no cost to take part, but you can donate. We all are volunteers. Edwin is living on fumes, I think. And so if you want to do that, that would be more than welcome. And but it is free, and especially for people who can't afford the training and things like that, we want to get you trained. So we will do that, and cost is not an option. Is not an obstacle. Sorry. What you are here now is this is the Empathy Circle Facilitator Training Introduction Cafe, which means is this gives you a chance to experience the Empathy Circle, see what it's about, and also to see whether you want to take the facilitation training. And that's what today's about. You'll have plenty of chance to experience it and ask any questions. Before you take the facilitator training, we ask that you have 2 empathy circles under your belt. This counts as 1. And also you can come to another introduction cafe, and that would be your second, or you can hold one independently. We do not, it's the honor system. So if you hold one with your family or something, that's fine. The time commitment, I wanted to take a little bit of time with this, with the time commitment. It consists of 5 sessions of 2.5 hours each. That they occur weekly at the same time and the same day of each week. But please, as best you can, please try to you know, kind of block out that time so you can be there, because we match up trainers and we have buddy calls, and there's a whole bunch of things and a whole bunch of work that Edwin puts in to, or, you know, making everything work. And when people drop out, that kind of throws the balance off. So sometimes there are things that are unavoidable. We understand that. But if, you know, please take this, you know, very seriously, the commitment, if you decide to. The training path. So this is an ongoing series. We will offer these trainings periodically throughout the year. Right now, we're offering them at 10 a.m. Pacific time on Mondays. And also right now, this is the Saturday. After a while, it's going to be quite a while for introductory cafes on Saturday, but I believe it's November 11th or the middle of November, we will start a facilitation training at this time. If both the Mondays and the Saturdays are in the midst of a cohort, then we usually have a training on Fridays, an open cafe like this one. Over here is where you can sign up. I think our Monday cohort is going to be starting this Monday. It's full, but there'll be other ones to, you know, to join. Also, the training path, a little bit more about that. So we designed this, I was one of the co-designer, not of the Empathy Circle, but of the facilitation training with Lou and Edwin, and Marta and Carolina. So we designed it so that we could take you through it as efficiently as possible. But we realize that people come from all sorts of walks of life and all sorts of skill levels and things like that. So, you know, if you are a psychologist or a psychiatrist for years, or a social worker, something like that, you know, it'll be fairly easy. You'll understand the concepts, and then you can kind of take it and then run with it if you wish. But other people, and even if you have a lot of experience, the facilitation is sort of an art. You have to participate, and also kind of maintain another level of awareness in the room. And sometimes that takes a little bit longer. So we encourage you to take it at your own pace. It's made to be taken at your own pace. We do have an aspect of the training where we give you challenges, but if you don't want any challenges or you don't feel ready, that's fine. And if you feel that you are, I have taken it as a participant. Some of the people here are trainers or trainees, and they're learning to present the training. And you want to kind of take it several times as a trainee or something like that, you can go at your own pace. This is very important, that you can kind of take this at your own pace. Give you an overview of the of the sessions. What you're going to experience in the facilitation training. The first session is Empathy Circle. There's always going to be an Empathy Circle there for discussion. And this is to introduce you to the values of a culture of empathy. These are care, openness, mutuality, and of course, empathy. This is not an exhaustive list of values. You may call some other things, that's fine. But the important thing is to understand that this is not simply a pristine technique. It exists within you know, a culture. So sometimes we might take what would be opposite actions. But why? Well, because we're trying to apply care. We then do session 2 is a practice facilitation. Session 3 is then the practice facilitation with challenges. We also, by the way, in section 2 and 3, practice the introduction, how to tell people about the mechanics of the circle. Session 4 is, again, you practice the how-to, so it's practice facilitation with challenges. Again, if you wish, if you don't, that's fine. And then session 5 is a session for training debrief and feedback, and when we kind of connect with the values and kind of ask you, you know, how has your experience in the training, you know, affected your perception of those values. Edwin, as he says, is like the most extensive empathy, you know, area online. Here's a bunch of things. You can go into the values, how to, bunch of, things here. And here are, references. So here is more about what we do. And then over here are more about empathy in general. And all those things. And I'll stop my sharing. I want to get on. And Edwin or any other facilitators, if there's anything I missed, please chime in.
I would just mention that the training path that you can, it's a 5-week training, but you can take it multiple times as a participant. Then you can take it as a trainee, which means that you help to start presenting the training to move up to become a trainer, because we are trying to spread this practice. So it's a bit of an empathy Ponzi scheme where you become a trainer and you can share it with others. You can do circles, but you can also train others to facilitate, because we have 7, almost 8 billion people that we're trying to train with this practice. So we're really trying to kind of to spread it as so get you to train others. Yeah, that's it, Bill.
Okay. All right. And not quite on that page, and I'm passing it on. I think we're going to do the
Questions
fishbowl.
and answers. You want to
question and answer. Sure, absolutely. Questions and answers. If you have, we'll be using this in a second. If you look at the bottom of your screen, you see reactions, and then you go up there, there's something that says raise hand, and then you'll see like a little hand, then I'll put you to the top so I can be able to see you. Okay, so are there any questions? Raise your hands. No, all right. All right, well then go out and do your facilitation, and we'll see you in a year, and everybody, with all 8 billion people will be trained. That's the hope anyway, I would say. So if there aren't any, if I'm missing anything, anyone, I'd like to see that, but I don't really see any questions or answers. So we'll do the fishbowl.
Question.
Oh, you
I have
do?
a question,
Oh, okay.
but
All
I
right,
didn't
Vanessa.
know how to raise my, oh, here we go.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, there you go. All right. Vanessa, yes, please go ahead.
I am familiar with nonviolent communication, NVC.
Right.
How much of NVC and Empathy Circle facilitation is there like a relationship? Is there overlap? Is there continuity?
Oh, can I answer
Go ahead,
that,
Edwin.
Bill? Yeah. So NVC was founded by Marshall Rosenberg, and he was a graduate student with Carl Rogers, who developed the empathic listening process. So we're using that same process based on Carl Rogers, who used the empathic listening within a therapeutic setting. And what we're doing with the Empathy Circle, I think it's like the next simple first step, which is to do mutual empathic listening in small groups. So it's the same root and foundation as NVC. And so all your NVC skills of listening for feelings and needs can really apply. So it's very complementary, but it's much simpler. With NVC, as you know, is the practice nonviolent communication. It takes quite a bit. I mean, sometimes it takes years of training to learn how to identify feelings and needs. And with this practice, you can jump right in, you can get immediate benefits, and you can learn those deeper skills over time. And the Empathy Circle is a gateway to NVC, to practices like motivational interviewing. It's a gateway to mediation. It's a gateway to therapy and counseling. If you want to be a therapist and counselor, or even a psychiatrist, this is like the first fundamental step, and you'll get the most benefit, I think, most effective first step gateway practice. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, and we have a lot of, oh, I see one, yes. Ruth.
Sorry, yeah. Do we have to go to all 5, or can we miss one just in case we're away or something? Because, yeah.
Well, if you commit, we would like you to attend all 5. Because again, there's a numbers game here. So you are in a breakout rooms with a certain amount of people. We do understand if sometimes there are things that are unavoidable, And in that case, no salesman will come to your door. And you can just let us know what's happening. Here, we try to just basically solve problems and then move on, and rather than spending a lot of time and worrying about it. But it is really helpful if you can, make all 5. That's the great. Diane, yes.
Thank you. I just, along those same question lines, I know sometimes when we're doing trainings like this, it can be often more disruptive to come in late than to not come at all. So I just wanted to ask if during the 5 weeks, if you all had an opinion about whether or not, I mean, obviously I'm going to do my very best to be there on time. But if we were to come in just a little bit late, would that be so disruptive that you would prefer we not attend at all, or?
It's hard to give a one size fits all, answer to your question. If it was a minute, no problem.
Sure.
If it was like an hour late, probably it would be disruptive. So, somewhere between there.
Yeah, 15-20 minutes is doable because we do check-ins in the first part. So, and we probably should close the questions now, Bill, so we can get into the practice. So we're going to hand it over to Shannon, who's going to lead us in an empathy circle fishbowl. And you're muted.
Thank you. So,
do you want to play the video, Edwin, first?
Oh, you're right. Thank you. Oh, I'm totally messing up here. Okay, thanks for the reminder. Somebody's on the ball here. Sorry about that, Shannon. So we're going to go into showing the how-to video before as the next step. So let me do that. So this is the, is my sharing? Let me see if I'm doing this right. So this is the how-to. This is just the basic how-to video of how to take part in a basic empathy circle. It's just 6 minutes. And so we'll just take a look at this. I'm Edwin Rutch, founding director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy. I'd like to welcome you to this short presentation on how to take part in a basic empathy circle. So next, let's look at the step-by-step how to take part. An empathy circle starts with 2 to 7 participants. Here on the screen, we have 4 participants, which I find is an ideal number. There are 4 basic roles, and the roles rotate among the participants as the empathy circle unfolds. 1, the speaker, is the first person to speak. 2 is active listener who actively listens to the speaker. There's the silent listeners, they quietly observe and witness. And the facilitator who organizes, schedules, and hosts the circle. They also do the timekeeping, and they have some experience with the process and help keep participants in the process. However, everyone has the responsibility to hold the process and the practice. So to begin with, the facilitator will start the empathy circle. They welcome the participants. They lead introductions if the participants don't know each other. The facilitator invites participants to give short introductions, for example, their name, where they're from, and something personal about themselves. The facilitator then reviews the empathy circle process to remind everyone how it works. They announce the discussion topic, if there is one. Even if there is a topic, you can always talk about what is alive for you. That is what is on your mind in the moment. And 5, they set the speaker time limits, perhaps 5 minutes, for example. And the facilitator then asks who would like to start to be the first speaker. So at that point, the participant volunteers to be the first speaker. As speaker, you select who will be your active listener, and you can select anyone that you want. You speak about the topic given or whatever is alive for you. And so you'll speak a bit until you have maybe expressed an idea or two, and then you want to pause to give the active listener a chance to recap what they understand that you are saying and feeling. If you say too much, the listener may have difficulty in reflecting it. As the active listener, you are listening to the speaker to get an understanding of what they are saying and what is important to them. You are giving them your full attention as a supportive companion on their inner journey and exploration. When the speaker pauses, you recap your understanding of what they said and how they feel by reflecting the essence of that in your own words. You can summarize, paraphrase, or even say the speaker's words back to them. Even though you may have a strong impulse to respond with your own ideas, judgments, analysis, advice, and sympathy, or even questions, resist the impulse to do so because these common responses block the speaker from moving along their internal journey. You'll be able to say whatever you want when it is your turn to be the speaker. If you don't reflect the understanding to the speaker's satisfaction, they can always say it again. Then as speaker, you check, do you feel understood to your satisfaction? If you do not feel understood, you can say it again, perhaps in different words. If you do feel understood, continue sharing. Again, after speaking a bit, pause to give your active listener a chance to recap their understanding of what you said. As the active listener, you again share your understanding of what the speaker said and meant. The cycle of speaking and reflecting continues until you, as the speaker, do not have anything else you'd like to say, or until you get a signal from the timekeeper. If you get a signal from the timekeeper, then finish up what you're saying in a sentence or two. After you get a final reflection, you can end your turn by saying something like, I feel fully heard, or something like that to indicate you are done with your speaking turn. At that point, the roles then rotate. The active listener becomes the speaker. The person they select becomes the new active listener. For everyone having equal time, it is good to select someone that hasn't spoken lately, but it is your choice. The others in the circle become the silent listeners. This process of taking turns in speaking and active listening continues for whatever time is allotted for the empathy circle. And this was just a very short introduction. The best way to learn the practice is taking part and doing it. There is more in-depth material on taking part in an empathy circle and facilitating one at empathycircle.com. Thank you for listening. Okay, thanks, Ray, for reminding me about that. So next, Shannon, do you want to guide us in about a 15-minute fishbowl empathy circle?
Absolutely. So we're now going to get some experience taking part in the empathy circle, as you just heard it described in the video. So as Edwin just stated, we'll start with 15 minutes or so fishbowl of an empathy circle in the full group. And then we'll go into breakout rooms to practice. So if you'd like to be in the empathy circle fishbowl right now, can you please just raise your hand and leave it up? You can go to the reactions button at the bottom of your Zoom screen and you'll see that raise hands button. Okay, great. Thanks to those who volunteered. Okay. Okay, so it looks like we have enough volunteers to get started with this segment.
Can you raise your hand as well, Shannon, just so that you're at the top of the screen?
Sure, yeah. Okay. So if, as we're taking part in this circle, you'd like to join, you can raise your hand. We might not get to you, but just to know you're interested, we may have time and come around to you. So as we, in order in order to get started, please bear in mind the following topic, and this will also be put in the chat, I believe. So here's the prompt. Why are you interested in empathy, the Empathy Circle, and the Empathy Circle Facilitator Training, or whatever is most alive for you right now? So as the speaker, you're going to have 3 minutes to talk, and I'll go ahead and keep the time. I'll be the first listener to model the listening part of this. Okay, who would like to be the first speaker? If you could raise your real hand now. Linda, okay, wonderful. So go ahead and start whenever you're ready.
Okay, thank you, Shannon. I want to speak about why I continue with the empathy training. As a mediator and arbitrator, I feel like this experience and the exercises that we participate in the breakout rooms is helping me become a better listener. And I listen I'm learning to listen without thinking about what I'm going to say in response to whatever is being said. I'm learning to listen with my friends without jumping in and interrupting and talking over them. And I'm also noticing as I go through this practice how much they talk over each other and interrupt each other. But yeah, I still remain silent. So I'm finding that it is a very, very good way to communicate, and to not only communicate, but to understand the other person's point of view. Before I retire.
So I'll go ahead and reflect that back. Thank you, Linda. So what I hear you saying is you're describing why it is that you're continuing to take part in these trainings. And as a mediator and an arbitrator, you found this really helpful in not only kind of learning to actively listen professionally, but also with your friends, and also to spot when you're not kind of getting that in return.
True. The other reason is I think it's a great way to have dialogue with people who have a different point of view. When I was working, one of my favorite mantras was, there's a difference between not understanding and not agreeing. Empathy, this active listening, helps me to understand.
Mm-hmm. So you're pointing out that it's particularly helpful when you're talking with someone that doesn't share your point of view. And it's made you realize that that's even possible when you might not agree. And that I think that was it, but please add if I missed anything.
No, correct. That's exactly what I was saying. So I'm going to encourage everyone to actively participate in this, in the circles that we have when we have the breakout room, and seriously consider going forward with the training.
All right. So you just said you wanted to encourage everyone to just move forward with the training and kind of take in these skills, these active listening skills. Do you feel fully heard, Linda?
I feel fully heard. Thank you, Shannon.
Absolutely. So now, Linda, you'll be the speaker, as you know, and you can choose a active listener.
I will choose.
Shannon, you're the.
No, yeah.
I'll be the speaker, and
the listener becomes the speaker. The listener becomes the speaker. I have to say it myself. Yeah.
Reminder. So who would like to be the next active listener in that case? Anjali. Okay. So I'll go ahead and start the time. So I'm pleased to be a part of this training again. And it's kind of my favorite part of this is just to kind of have some practice, which what I believe is a critical skill. And also some experience being part of a community that embraces what this critical skill is that I think is kind of missing in a lot of other groups.
So Shannon, you are here to practice the skill of empathy, and it is something that you really value, and it is something that you want to implement elsewhere perhaps. So that's why. Yeah. So do you want to add to that?
Yes. So one additional thing I had mentioned is that it seems it's missing from a lot of groups. And that's part of why I kind of appreciate these trainings so much, is because I think it's so needed in today's society.
So yeah.
Go ahead.
Yes. So you said that you think that empathy is missing from a lot of groups and interactions, and you think there should be more of that. So that's why you're here.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you. I feel fully heard. And I think that it can be brought into different settings, be they professional, going all the way down to the closest relationships in our lives. And regardless of what sort of relationship it is, it can create really pivotal changes in those relationships.
So you think it is something that can be useful in professional relationships, also in personal relationships, and it can really take things forward from there. Yeah.
Yes, exactly, Anjali. I feel very heard. And yeah, I'm just really excited to kind of continue to participate in this practice, just because I really kind of believe in it. So I think that's all for my share at this point. Thank you for listening.
Okay, you're welcome.
So if you want to reflect that last part back, and then.
Yeah, so you are really excited about this practice, and you look forward to implementing it and sharing it further.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Anjali. I feel very heard. So now you can be the speaker and choose an listener.
So I can choose a Vanessa. Vanessa, you want to be my listener?
Yes, please. Sure.
So I'm really interested in empathy because I think it has opened doors for me in terms of how I understand the world. I am a person who thinks a lot, so a lot of my understanding is internal. So I'm always like thinking a lot and introspecting, but this gives me like an understanding that you don't get, otherwise. And it's, I think you feel that your social interactions feel so much better when you listen rather than just talking.
I hear that you get more satisfaction in your relationships, not only when you're thinking about yourself and what you're trying to get across, but also emotionally when you're connecting with others and when you're hearing other people more intimately, but also when they're able to hear you more intimately.
Yeah, that's part of it. But just to add to that, I haven't practiced this a lot in relationships yet. But what I meant was that how it can help me in relationships. So you were probably already thinking ahead of like, what it might do in terms of enhancing things for me. So I do find value in it for that reason, and also because I'm interested in conflict and moral emotions. So I have noticed that empathy and listening, it is something that is oftentimes the missing step. And people assume what, the other person might be saying or something, and that it leads to conflict. I had like this, it happens with me and my mom like all the time, like where I'm saying something and she thinks I'm saying something else, and before I can correct anything, it leads to problems. So the empathy and the listening is something that I want to learn that will help me.
Yeah, so it sounds like you have hope that learning more about empathy will improve your connections with people, and that in your relationship with your mom, for example, that you'll be able to utilize the skills so that you can avert misunderstandings or that you can heal misunderstandings in the moment.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I wanted to say.
Great. So that's time. Thank you, Anjali and Vanessa. So Vanessa, if you want to choose an active listener now.
Let's see I see we have 2 people who are, is that you, Speak? Are you available?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, would you be my listener, please?
I'd love to.
Okay. I'm interested in learning about empathy circles because I have found in relationships that sometimes when I am in distress, I need empathy and I need to ask for it explicitly. I think empathy is one of my highest values. I think it's a non-negotiable in my relationships with others. And therefore, I have to offer it if it is something that I want to receive. I believe that I teach others how to treat me.
Okay. All right. To my understanding, you're interested in learning more about empathy because something that you not only expect of yourself, but it's something that you expect of others in your relationships, and you need to have that reciprocity from them. Also, you said in the beginning that I'm sorry, I lost my thought.
That's okay. That's okay.
Okay.
It would be difficult for me to expect anything of other people. That's why I have to ask for it.
All right, that was it. That was it.
Yeah.
Knowing,
Yeah.
so being on both sides of that empathy, being able to receive, to give and receive, but being able to express that need to others.
Yeah.
To their full understanding.
Yeah. As I had said when I asked the question about nonviolent communication, empathy goes a long way in healing wounds. And over the past week, I made an apology to someone who had hurt me because I knew that I had hurt her as well. And that person did not accept my apology, but I was able to offer her empathy. And I'm really glad about that.
Okay.
Okay.
I heard you say that you had trouble in a relationship where you both hurt each other. And even though you were not able to get the release or the forgiveness from those actions, you were able to how do I say it? You were able to still show empathy, even though despite the fact that they didn't want to engage you on the level of forgiveness.
Yeah, yeah. Great. So I'm really looking forward to this training because I think it will just help me blossom in my own education, my own enrichment, and my own ability to communicate with people with a greater consciousness. And hopefully, again, teach people how to treat me and help people feel better about themselves.
So Speak, do you want to go ahead and reflect that back and then you can start your turn?
I heard again you say that you were looking for the ability to teach people how to treat you. That empathy, I'm assuming that you have as an empath, requires a lot of energy, and you need that energy reflected.
I would like that very much. Thank you for listening. I feel fully heard.
Thank you.
Thank you both. Speak, you can select an active listener once you're ready.
Okay. See who we have.
Priscilla hasn't had a chance yet.
Priscilla, yeah, that was the one I was looking for. Miss Priscilla, would you like to be my active listener? You're still muted.
Yes. Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
Well, I became interested in empathy training because I was looking for as much paraprofessional training as I can get. I started out as a psychology student before I was diagnosed. So because of the situation and the family history that I have, it puts me in a different position than most because I've been a student, I've been an advocate, I've been a client, I've been a caretaker and a paraprofessional. So that's a position that has required a lot of me, and I feel like if I'm not moving up to my potential in terms of what I've been taught and what I've been trained in and what I'm capable of doing, short of that, I'd be making excuses. I wanted to be as thoroughly versed so I could be a peer supporter, a good peer supporter. That position tends to be lacking also in a lot of groups. It's a position that allows clients to be comfortable in that they have somebody that fully understands what it is that they're going through. They tend to get sometimes different or more disclosure than a professional, than what they do with a paraprofessional. So that was why.
Okay, that was a lot, but I'll try. I'll do my best. That you were interested in looking for paraprofessional training.
Yes,
you started as a psychology student before diagnosed. Because of your history, it put you in a lot of different roles, and it required a lot. You wanted to make sure that you were moving toward your potential and your capability and training, and not sort of make excuses. You wanted to be versed so that you would be a really good supporter and position yourself in a way that you could really be helpful to clients and fully understand what was going on with them.
Okay.
So
great.
I feel fully heard.
Thank you, speaking Priscilla. Priscilla, when you'd like to select
maybe at this point we can go into our breakout circles. So we want to have everyone have a chance to take part, and you'll be going into a circle, Priscilla, and you can be the first speaker in your group. to speak to the facilitator. So I created, I think 6 rooms or so. The first one is with Kathy. Bill will be facilitating, and then Shannon has a group, and then Dominic, and then Linda and Stefan, you'll be in the group supporting Linda, and then Larry, and then Raid. So we're going to go into those groups. We have about a little bit, maybe about 47 minutes, I think, in the breakout rooms. I'll send a notice about 5 minutes before we come back, and we'll have 20 minutes to debrief at the very end. So I'm going to send us into the breakout rooms. You all get a chance to practice. And we have the question again: why are you interested in the empathy circles, empathy circles in the facilitation training, or whatever is alive for you, meaning whatever you feel energetic, on your mind. And we'll have, since it's a shorter time, we'll have 4-minute turns. So with that, and I might be, if you're in a room and you get moved, all of a sudden it's because of the room numbers have changed. I try to keep at least 4 or 5 to a room. So see you in the rooms. Oh, I hit the wrong. There's a button that you can push that forces everyone into the rooms, and I forgot to push that. So you have to hit the select the room to get it, go into it.
It says broadcast message to all and close all rooms.
Oh, that, yeah, I'll, so if you just see select there's a room, you should all be going into a room. And Kathy, I'm with you in this room here. And Larry, are you seeing that button to push? You should be leading another room.
I'm not seeing a button.
Oh, I think, let's see, there's some people are staying here in this room here. Let's see. Yeah.
Hi, Kathy.
Yeah, you're going to be here. Yeah. So Kathy, you're leading this room. And,
oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're facilitating. I'm just, this is the weight room, and sometimes people come in and out of it. So I'll just be here to support you and do kind of the technical stuff. I'm also a participant. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. So you saw how it works. I just want to go over some basics just one more time. So there's 4 roles: the facilitator, the speaker, the active listener, and the silent witnesses. So as a speaker, you want to express 1 or 2 ideas and pause and let somebody have a chance to reflect back, or else they might get lost in everything that you're saying. And as an active listener, you can also ask somebody to pause if you feel like they're going too long and you're not going to catch everything. So the silent listeners, we're giving our full attention. Just because we're not speaking or listening, we still want to be there and fully hold the space for the listener and the speaker. And if you're like me, sometimes you can get distracted by your phone. So put your phone away or turn it off. And you want to refrain from using the chat for anything, because our full attention is on whoever the speaker and the listener are. And so let's get started. I will be the first listener. And who would like to be the first speaker? Yan, I'm listening. You're muted.
Thank you. So I am excited to be a part of this training. I'm finding it to be very similar to some past training that I've had. I was the active on a 211 hotline system here years ago in Charleston, and was trained to answer the phone calls for the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. So I'm finding this to be very similar to that. And so I'm excited to refresh those skills, because it has been a while.
Wonderful. So you've had this experience before, being a volunteer for the suicide hotline, and sounds like you missed those experiences, and you find that here and you're looking forward to doing that again.
Yes, thank you. I do miss it. I find that for my own personal rhythm, my brain can get very excited about things, and I'm a chronic interrupter. So even with my training, I know that's something that I would like to be better at doing and not doing.
So even with your training, you notice that you're a chronic interrupter, and you want to get better at that and be a better listener.
Yes, absolutely. And I don't know what our time frame is.
Oh, I'll let you know.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm feeling a little under the weather today, so I'm having a little trouble focusing, but I'm glad to be here, and it feels like a good space to be in.
Right. You're not feeling well, and in spite of that, you're still glad to be here because it feels good to be here for you.
Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Great. So as you can see, you don't have to go your full 4 minutes. If you feel fully heard, you can say at that point that you feel fully heard. So I was the listener, so now I get to be the speaker, and the speaker chooses somebody to be the listener. So Albert, since I can see you, will you be my listener?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Let me start my time. So, yes. Edwin, is this being recorded?
Yes, this is
Okay.
Circle is recorded.
So one thing that I have noticed out of specifically focusing on empathy, because I was trained in NVC, and it's very complicated. And this is much simpler and takes the best of all communication techniques that I've learned.
So would you like some reflection on what you just shared? So you like the simplicity of the process. It's easier, I'm guessing it's easier to understand, integrate, and apply. And the results you get are really affirming.
Right. The results I get for myself, because not many people are doing this. I would love everybody to be doing this.
So you would really like to, and I'm just integrating some knowledge I have in your role, that part of the role that you have that opportunity to share this and realize the potential to bring satisfaction to a lot of people.
Yeah. Not only that, but I'm here because I get a lot from it. And I love all the people that we're meeting from all over the world.
So there's a deep sense of personal gratification in practicing this communication technique.
Yes. Well, and I love meeting everybody, and it's diverse. How often do we get this much diversity when we go anywhere in society?
So you really enjoy it, and I'm guessing it provides again a deep sense of gratification and even joy to have diversity and share with that diversity of human beings.
Yeah. Yes. And the other thing that this has put me in touch with, which is very painful, is the violence of not being listened to. It feels so violent. And I'm sure that's been true forever. And now I'm just feeling it.
Yeah, just a quote that might underline what you're saying is Dr. Martin Luther King said, "Violence is the language of the unheard." And so when you encounter that violence, it's very disturbing.
It is very disturbing. Yes, I'm surprised at how disturbed I am by it, and that it took this. And I'm also wondering is that why people get into so much conflict? Is because they're not heard and they feel that violence inside, and so then it comes out.
Yeah, so you're wondering if, in fact, that by having empathy, there would be more clarity amongst people and they would have other options and choices instead of just this eruption of violence, of strong feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm using my words, but
yes, I know. Let me tweak it. So what I'm saying is that because there's violence and somebody not here. If I don't hear somebody and I'm not giving them the space to talk, then I'm being violent toward them. And so that's going to escalate the conversation because those feelings get in the space. They're in my body, they're in somebody else's body.
So you realize the value of compassion and empathy in being able to help human beings thrive, for yourself to thrive and other human beings to thrive.
Yeah. It's time, but let me just provide a little bit information that I didn't provide up front. You do a beautiful job of taking it like deeper than I was taking it. And it's helpful if we can reflect back what somebody's saying, maybe even using their own words. So yeah, I would invite that, and I'm providing that feedback. So it's your time. Oh, go ahead, Albert.
Yeah, just for clarity, Kathy, what you broke up there for a minute when you were talking.
Oh, yeah. So this is simpler than I think that we make it out to be. And it's okay to reflect back and just use the same words somebody else is using without going any deeper than that. So it's your turn to.
Yeah, but beforehand, could you just reflect back what you heard Kathy say?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that there's different levels of listening, and I'm not sure if what you're saying is that you endorse the simpler form of listening, and I'm just a little confused. So the deeper level of listening was dissonant for you? I'm not sure if I understand.
Yeah. I think as part of what we're doing here is learning to listen and repeat back and reflect back exactly not exactly, but what somebody is saying without trying to take it anywhere different. Because I know in NVC particularly, you do that, or in some other ways that you're trained, like if you're a therapist or something. So this is invites you to be just a simple reflection back.
Yeah, so the goal is more reflection, what I would call reflection, than active listening or empathy.
Yes, yeah. And in the reflection, the empathy is there. Yeah. So you get to be.
Can you put me back in the room I got kicked?
I'm looking for which one it was. Sorry. Oh, it was room 1, I think. Assigned to.
That was room 1.
Yeah, there you go. You seeing it, Bill? Sorry, folks. Yeah, I think he's on his way. I think he's having computer problems. Okay, there it goes.
Okay, great. So Albert, it's your turn to speak, and you can choose somebody to listen.
Okay, well, who would like to practice? I mean, I'm drawn to asking Ed. Okay.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Do you prefer Ed or Edwin?
Edwin.
Okay. So what I'm seeing, reading the question, you're interested in empathy circles. Why are you interested? Well, I've been practicing empathy for quite a while, and like Kathy, I find that there's great value. I feel joy. It eliminates confusion in communication. Otherwise, I'm just often guessing what people are talking about, what they're needing, what their expectation is of me. And if I reflect back and get a positive response, that helps me to know that I'm on track.
So like Kathy, there's a lot of you're saying that you see a lot of confusion with the listening, and you find that if you can just reflect back what people are saying, empathize with people, it kind of keeps you on the right track.
Yeah, it helps for that connection.
Connection
with other, right. So otherwise I may say or do something that's not relevant to them and or me and building connection. So I just find that people are really hungry for empathy, really to be understood and heard.
So you're really finding people are hungry for being understood and for receiving empathy.
Absolutely. And for me, my first response to all circumstances is compassion.
So you try to respond to everything, to all circumstances, with a sense of compassion.
That's my practice.
Yeah, it's your practice, core foundational practice of compassion.
Sometimes I succeed, sometimes not. I do have an alter ego. I call him Luigi. Luigi has different methods of getting things done. I come from the Bronx, and Luigi sometimes shows up.
So you try to respond to everyone, all situations, with a sense of compassion, but sometimes other parts come up, and you've actually named that other part Luigi, you know, from the Bronx. Sounds like tough, you know, guy.
Right. He has a more limited pool of resources, but, you know, it seems to be effective at certain times.
Yes, there's a sense of value of effectiveness. Luigi can get things done and be effective.
Yeah, he doesn't have
limited resources, but effective.
Right, doesn't have to think through all of this stuff. Hey, reflection, what's that? Don't bother me. Get out of my face. So anyway, but I really see that empathy is, and I'm really happy that Kathy, that you're doing this, Edwin, all the people who are participating. It's just so much needed. And I don't believe many people understand the value of this, of being heard and receiving other people, and how that leads to peaceful existence in the world. Because there's all these underlying tensions and things that are not sorted out. And if they're not given space to be expressed, then they will manifest in one way or the other.
I think I was hearing some appreciation that we're here doing this, Kathy, myself, Diane, and that people don't see the value of empathy and listening. So there's just sort of an unappreciation in the society for people really hearing each other out. And
right, yeah, we're not educated on the mechanics of actually listening deeply and receiving each other and recognizing the humanity in each other. So I applaud you for making this effort.
Yes, I'm hearing and applauding us for making this effort, because people aren't really taught these skills. And so you applaud us for working on this. I think that was time. Was that it, Kathy?
Yes. It's your turn to speak, Edwin.
Okay. Donnie, are you there? Oh,
Hi,
great.
everyone.
Hi. Okay, well, I'll speak to you. I'm sort of building on what Albert said. I think that we are not trained in empathy and these listening skills, and I think we need to do this in the schools already from the kindergarten, first grade. It should be core to the curriculum, is learning empathy and empathic listening and mediation skills.
So you think we need to have these empathy skills at the core of our schools, and so that we can have better communication when we're younger?
Yeah, it would have been a huge benefit for me if I would have just learned this, not at 50 or something, but at 5, And then, so I think we need to advocate for it, just really, demonstrate for it, take to the streets, sit in front of Congress, bring empathy training, into all the schools from the earliest grades.
So you think that we should advocate it and demonstrate it, and bring it in front of the political, so that we can integrate it into our schools?
Yeah, I have, I don't have any children, but I had like, 5-year-old, 6, 7-year-old nephews and nieces. And when I go and visit and they have fights with each other, I try to teach them how to do an empathy circle. I start by listening to one person, empathically listen to one of the kids, 5-year-old, my niece, Annie. I listen, oh, so you're really upset, why you're upset. And I listen to my nephew who's like 6, reflect back. And I kind of reflect back like we're doing here with each of them. And then I get them to do empathic listening with each other, and they kind of start working out their own problems already at 5 years old.
So when you visit your young relatives and they fight, you try to use empathy circles to help them communicate and work through their fighting, and reflect back what they're doing.
And then even I think families should have empathy circles in the family, like, have a weekly empathy circle so all the family members can be heard. Maybe a topic like, what is something really exciting that happened in your week, or something meaningful that happened in your week. So you talk about positive experiences. So that would be another way to kind of spread it in the family.
So you think we should have empathy circles in our family so we can discuss about meaningful things that happen in our life and what things that we enjoy during the week?
Yeah, so spread it everywhere. Let's get Congress to do empathy circles to model it. We'll get the Democrats and Republicans to, have empathy circles in Congress. I had thought of running for office as Edwin Empathy Rutch. And I'd say, vote for empathy. Have yard signs and all that kind of stuff. And we go to Congress and, really advocate for it.
So like spreading the word about empathy circles, especially in our political Congress. And you were thinking about volunteering or working in the office as an empathy facilitator.
No, I want to run for office. I want to be a candidate. We'll run for, yeah.
Sorry. And you'll run for office and help with empathy in our society.
Yeah, exactly. I feel fully heard. And I did want to check, Megan, are you here? Because you're actually supposed to be in another room, but I'm not sure if you're really here or you're in the other room. Sometimes Zoom doesn't move people. Just if you can unmute if you're here. Okay, I think that Megan is not here. It's actually, yeah, they were sent to room 4, so they may be there. So I'll just let you know. Okay, I feel fully heard. Thank you.
You have time
Thank you. And Donnie, it's your turn to speak. Do you want to choose somebody to listen?
Diane, can you listen for me?
Certainly, I'd be happy to.
Okay, so I am interested in the empathy circles training and the empathy because I believe I think it's a important tool for communication, and I think I can grow my skills in active listening.
So you are participating in this training because you are interested in expanding your skills and learning better how to be an active listener. You think it would be a good thing for you?
Correct. I think listening and empathy are important foundations for communication. It helps us accept and communicate things that are being told to us, and when we're talking to other people.
Yeah, so you feel like active listening and empathy are really important skills to have, and can help us be more open, help you to be more open to learning from others and hearing what others have to say if you're better at this.
Yeah, I think it helps us with accepting, with truth and reconciliation and pride when we have time to communicate what our struggles are and our issues, and can help facilitate discussing hard topics like genocide and to our indigenous people, the mistreatments and to people, and helps us see the humanity inside people.
Yeah, so what I heard was that you feel that these skill sets can, or empathy in particular, can be really helpful in acceptance of folks, specifically you named indigenous populations, but folks maybe who are not as heard and not as accepted in our society. And so you feel this skill set would be really helpful in that.
Yes, I believe there are therapeutic means inside empathy that can help us communicate these issues politically and socially, even, even psychologically. So, and when I'm heading into social work and counseling as a psychology major, I think these are important tools and an important foundation for me to have.
So what I heard, that was, I might not have gotten all of that, but what I heard was that you're a psychology student, and you feel like going into this field, having this skill set is going to be really important for you to do this work well, and that you felt that in certainly in the political realm and in our societies as a greater whole, that it would be important for us to know how to do this better.
Yes, socially and psychology wise as well. I think once we start communicating this way, we can share this idea, this way of communicating with others just through conversation and by demonstrating.
Right. So I'm not sure that I got that. I'm sorry. Would you mind sharing that one more time?
Okay. It can help us socially and psychologically communicate better our problems and our solutions, and just communicating all together. And then when we are socializing with people, we can use this means empathy circles to share our better listening skills with each other.
Right. So you feel that socially and interacting with each other on a psychological level, that having better empathy skills and active listening skills would be able to increase our communication with each other and help each other to be understood.
Yes. And I believe that once we demonstrate these, we can then show others how it's how easily it can be applied to ourselves.
Right. So for you, demonstrating these skills is really powerful to teach people how these skills can help people in their own lives, not just about helping the listener, but also helping themselves.
Right. And that's all I have to say. And I feel heard.
Thank you.
We lost our timekeeper, so I'll keep time. So, yeah.
That's when I got distracted.
Her laptop probably, the power probably went off or something. Yeah, so I hope she'll be back. So go ahead, Diane, choose your listener.
Oh, Albert, would you like to be my listener?
Sure.
Okay.
Be happy to.
So since I've already gone and talked about why I'm doing this, I feel like I'll just speak about kind of what's on my heart today. So I'm about to move to Connecticut from Charleston, South Carolina, which is a big move for me. It's the first time in my adult life since I went to college that I'm moving to a brand new space with no particular reason except that I want to change my space, and it's a big deal for me.
So this is you're getting ready to, excuse me a second, let me clear my throat. So Diane, you're getting ready to move from South Carolina to Connecticut, if I heard that correctly. And this is a big move, first time in your adult life that you've been making such a transition. And it sounds like you're a little bit apprehensive about it, or certainly have a lot going on as you're preparing to make this move.
Yeah, the apprehension is mostly that I just found out that I was exposed to COVID on Tuesday, and that's why I'm not feeling that well today, and can't get tested until Monday. So So I'm dealing with the stress around how is this going to impact the next 3 weeks of my life if I do end up being positive.
Right. So it's a real concern. You're in the midst of this major life change of moving, and now it's complicated because you're physically not feeling well, and then the impact of COVID, as far as I'm guessing quarantine and what other things are going to enter into the picture, exposure to others, and trying to make this move. So it's a lot for you to process.
Yeah, you know, I'm in the final countdown, and I had arrangements to spend time with people that I really care about this weekend, and I can't do that because I have to quarantine. And my daughter's supposed to be here this week for her birthday week, and we're facing the possibility that she can't come. And so, yeah, it's, you know, life is what happens to you when you're making other plans, right?
Right. And I don't know, I'm trying not to just stay with reflection, but it sounds to me like you're kind of sad about this, that you really wanted to connect with people, your daughter, other people in your life, and now you're having to rethink all of that, if that's even possible, and you can't get tested until Monday. So you're kind of in this holding pattern while you're still feeling a little, whatever the symptoms are in your head, congested, cold, whatever's happening.
Yeah, so thankfully I don't really have, you know, a headache is pretty much the only thing I've got going on, but that just might be stress related. So, so I'm thankfully not feeling any symptoms at this point that couldn't be explained away by my stress level. So it's really just that limbo of not knowing until I know, and not being able to envision what the next 3 weeks is going to look like in my final countdown, whether or not I'm going to have to deal with sickness on top of that. So,
yeah, so it's just this limbo state, and until you can get tested on Monday and then get the results processed, you're kind of just in this holding pattern until you get clarity.
Yeah. Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Sorry, my internet went out. I dropped off. So
we missed you.
Yes, I missed you too. So Albert, it's your turn to choose a listener.
Choose a listener. Okay. Well, Kathy, how would you like to be willing to listen?
Yes, I would love to. I'm listening.
I'm not sure I have all that much to talk about in this moment. I was on another Zoom call with people who are exploring intentional community, and excuse me, and I was just feeling tired right in the moment. I got up earlier than I usually do, and so I'm feeling a little bit tired in this moment.
Yeah, so you got up earlier than usual for an intentional community phone call, and you're here and you're tired.
Yeah, so and I have yet to really think about what I need to work on my schedule for today, but I have a lot of things that are tugging at me, tasks, responsibilities, and so on. So I have that going on.
Yeah. So in the back of your mind, all this stuff is going on about what you need to get done today.
Right. And I'm curious, how long does this session last? How long what's the amount of time?
We go to the top of the hour, right, Edwin?
Right. So we have
2.
another 13 minutes in this here, and then we'll go to the full group to debrief.
Yeah.
So the total time for this whole till it comes to a close is how long? About
another 13 minutes.
13 minutes in the group.
For here, and in the big group, it'll end at top of the hour, whatever. whatever your time zone is, like another
Okay.
33 minutes.
Right.
And if
Okay.
you don't have to talk, if you feel fully heard, you don't have to go the 4 minutes. Just do
Right.
it.
Great. Yeah. I think I'm complete. Thank you.
Okay.
I do have a joke. I don't know if there's room for a joke in here, a communication.
Well, you've still got 2 minutes left if you want to tell a joke.
Okay. All right. I'll share a joke. So
Part of your time.
right. So I telling jokes with new people is always a little bit of a risk, but I'm gonna give it a go. So there's this rabbi and his assistant, and they're going to visit a couple who are having marital problems. So they arrive at the house, and the rabbi asks the wife to go into a separate room, and the wife says, "Rabbi, my husband, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, he does this, he does that." And the rabbi goes, "You're right, you're right." And then he goes and he talks to the husband in a separate room, and the husband says, "Rabbi, my wife, she does this, she does that, she doesn't do this, she doesn't do." He goes, "You're right, you're right." So they leave and they're walking away from the house, and the assistant goes, "Rabbi, what kind of technique is that? You tell the wife she's right, you tell the husband she's right. I mean, he's right. I mean, what kind of a technique is that?" And he says, "You're right. You're right."
So
Diane enjoyed that. Maybe Kathy, Edwin, you may have heard that before.
I'll reflect back. So you told a joke, and I'm guessing that something about that joke is part of listening, not making people wrong, and you takes you you get a lot of mileage out of that by just listening and not making people wrong.
Yeah. So what do I find? So I find it humorous, and it's a way of entertaining myself. And I find that humor is also a way to bridge gaps with others.
I'm showing off my sign, because when you
great.
facilitate a circle, you might want to use signs, pause, and time.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, you told that joke because you like breaking the ice, feeling comfortable with people, having them feel comfortable. Thank you. Are you fully heard?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it's my turn to speak. Edwin, would you listen to me?
Listening.
Yeah. So I find that the hardest part of this is listening, right? I didn't realize how poorly I listened till I had to really focus on what people were saying. Because usually I can let people go on a long time, like in my profession, because usually like the last thing they say is the thing they want to work on. So yeah, so I've noticed it's quite a challenge for me.
Yeah, you're really noticing what a challenge and how hard listening is. Because when you've done sounds like counseling or listening to people, it's usually the last thing that they're saying is what they want to work on, but the overall listening is quite hard.
Yeah, it amazes me how hard it is, really and truly. So I think that's the value of this for me, is really listening and reflecting back. And yes, it's good to have what you said reflected back, but it's also important to hone that listening skill.
So it's important to hone the listening skill. And I got a little distracted. Somebody was rushing around here. So yeah, that was what I got. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I did not realize the importance of listening and what a poor listener I was. Because I'm a therapist, I just automatically assume I'm a good listener, but that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, so you didn't realize that you were a poor listener. You thought, oh, I'm a therapist, I must be a good listener. But with this practice, sort of, you're kind of seeing that, hey, it's harder than you thought.
Yeah. So, Yeah, and I worry, when I'm facilitating, I don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, right? So how do I make sure people get the essence of this and be gentle in the process? So that's a concern I have. And sometimes I'm better than others, right? So.
Yeah, so you have a concern that you don't want to hurt people and especially in the facilitation, and it sounds like you're kind of looking at how you can not do that, and sometimes you're better than other times at
Right.
kind of having that care.
Right. And it's like, what makes you better sometimes and not as good other times, right? Is it a mood? Is it the what is it? I think I'm nervous whenever I'm in a group with you, Edwin.
Mm-hmm. So it's like, what is it with listening well? Like sometimes you do and sometimes not. And what is the, the reason, for being better or worse? And then maybe being in a circle with me, there's anxiety or nervousness.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know why I'm anxious around you. I guess because you're the founder, even though you're very relatable, very easy, you're so easygoing. There's no big deal. So I have no idea what's going on, but.
Yeah. So why is it you're feeling anxious around me? Maybe it's because I'm the founder of the Empathy Circle, and it's not like I'm kind of easygoing, relatable. So it's not that it's not that part that I'm intimidating or something.
Yeah, definitely. I get intimidated. And I am intimidated easily. So, that's about me, not about you.
Yeah, you get intimidated easily, and that's really on your,
right.
Not you.
Exactly. I feel fully heard.
Okay. I'll speak to Diane then.
Sure. Sorry. I forget that I mute.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I have the same thing as like, sometimes I feel like I can listen really well, be really attuned. So there's so many different factors in terms of that you can sort of feel when you really heard someone, and there's so many factors that inhibit that.
Yeah, so you were agreeing that's the same, similar for you, that sometimes you're really good at listening, and then other times it's more of a struggle, and there's just so many elements and factors that weigh in as to whether or not it's going to be a good go or not, or more challenging.
Yeah, so there's the anxiety, like I'm keeping track of all the different windows here, like checking all the other rooms. So I got a little bit of distraction. My partner came in, she's doing, political phone banking. She was all in a rush, papers were flying. And so there's just all these kind of things that take the attention away, and you just can't sort of focus. As a facilitator too, there's a bit of anxiety. So I got to hold all the space. This is new, keeping everything on track. So there are all those little things that kind of inhibit, the prime, excellent listening. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're, as a facilitator for this, you've got so much going on. You've got computer screens, you've got multiple things to pay attention to with regard to this actual meeting, as it were. And then your partner came in and was moving around, and that caused a distraction. And so it's really, you find it really challenging to manage all of the expectations and all of the different aspects of facilitating along with active listening.
And that's what we do in the training, is we have challenges. So it's like we have an empathy circle, and we do things where we challenge, we throw monkey wrenches into the circle so you can sort of practice it, like somebody speaking when it's not their turn, or going on and on, or not really reflecting. Sometimes people, instead of reflecting, they'll just start telling their own stories. And so there's all kinds of stuff that can kind of inhibit good listening.
Yeah, so part of the training as people move through it is to offer challenges, because it's good to practice, what that feels like to get distracted. And so you'll throw different challenges into people, such as someone talking when they're not supposed to, or someone actually not reflecting back what they heard, but starting to tell their own story, so that the facilitator, those of us that are in the training, can practice what it's like to feel that tug on our attentions and learn how to mitigate it and manage it so that we can be better active listeners.
Exactly. It's a lot. So, and then also with these empathy cafes, this is like totally open. We never know how many people are coming there. We had like 40 and it's shifting, people are coming and going. So it is a little, has a bit of a little confusing part to it. So so there's a lot of challenges to facilitating, but with practice, you get more grounded and calmer, with it.
Yeah, so for one of the aspects of these cafes is that you never know how many people are going to show up. So you have to be flexible when you are facilitating a cafe like this and figuring out how to manage the people that are in the room, and so there are a lot of extra challenges around that.
Yeah, and I think that's my time, so I feel fully heard. I think we're going to end in about a minute and a half, so probably not enough time. Maybe you want to just open it up to any questions?
Any questions, any comments?
No, I was just realizing that we have a new person here, Joseph. And I don't know if Joseph would like to take a moment and introduce himself.
Joseph was in the large, Joseph, did you drop off and come in? Or are you?
Yes, good evening. I dropped off and rejoined again.
Great, wonderful. So we're just wrapping up from our group. Any comments, any questions from our group? Albert, do you have any comments or questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. How about you, Deanne?
No, it was a great experience, and I felt like it got a little easier for me each time I did it. So improvement, yay.
Yeah. Joseph, do you have any questions or comments from the group that you were in?
No, I don't have any.
Okay. How was your experience?
It was great. I would really like to do more of this. It would help me personally and my professional life as well.
Wonderful.
So we have about 1 minute, and everyone else will be coming back into the full group. So and then we'll have a debrief, which Kathy will be leading.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. I just love all the insights. Everyone's insights about empathy is always just so refreshing, and just hearing everyone, dig into this is so great, because I think this is what the world really needs.
Thank you.
How was it for you, Kathy? How was it for you, Kathy?
Oh, it was great. It's always, it's always a learning opportunity, and I love meeting new people. So yeah, it's always a wonderful experience for me. Hi, Robin.
Hi, Kathy. How are you?
Good. See you again.
Good to see you.
Speaking of being anxious, Ruth, when I didn't see y'all, I got here and I didn't see y'all. I was like, oh, was I supposed to hit a button and bring them out or whatever?
We all followed you.
Yeah. Oh,
now everyone will come back automatically.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, I just want to do it right.
Edwin, can you put the question in the chat? I lost everything when I fell off.
Yeah, so Kathy would be leading this, our debrief. Go ahead.
Yeah, so just take 30 seconds. Let us know how your experience was, any learnings or insights from the Empathy Circle. What did you like about it? And I'm going to call names so we can go pretty quickly. I wrote everybody's name down at the beginning since we have 2 pages. So if I miss anybody, I'm going to go through and just make sure I got everybody. Just, flag me down if I miss you. Vanessa?
Oh my. I learned that I really need to focus.
Right. Thank you.
That's an area where I just know that I need to focus.
Thank you very much. Victor, then is Victor still here?
Yes, I am.
Oh, hi, Victor. 30
Hi.
seconds. Let us know how it was for you.
Well, like I said in my group, that the breakout room, that for me, it's more inclusive in nature, in addition, relaxing. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. Is Megan here? Stacy?
Hi, yes. I learned that I need to be more active listening to their exact wordings and not paraphrase what they're saying according to my own understanding.
Yeah, thank you, Stacy. Speak, is Speak still here?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead, Speak.
It was eye-opening and inspiring. As I said before, being without like people leads to quite a bit of loneliness and difficult to fulfill purpose. I think I found some purpose in what's going on here with the empathy circle. So
Thank you, Speak. Ruth?
Yeah, I was reminded actually of the flavour of empathy circles. They are very caring, and reminded that I don't, when I'm reflecting back, I don't have to be perfect, I don't have to get it right, which was lovely. And it was also lovely just to hear from people from other countries what's going on for them.
Thank you, Ruth. Janna?
I appreciated the very gentle topic and the integrity, honesty, and openness and kindness of the participants.
Yeah. Thank you, Janna. Kathleen?
Thanks. Yeah, I was kind of taken aback with how healing it felt. This is the second cafe I've been to, and I talked about some stuff that had been hard for me before, and it just felt incredible to be able to voice it and know that it was, I wasn't gonna be met with judgment, or I knew I'd be heard. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kathleen. Deanne?
I really appreciated the idea, as was offered in our empathy circle, about teaching children how to do this and modeling this behavior for children. I thought that was a lovely, I think I was thinking more in terms of adults, and it was lovely to think of children knowing how to do this. So thank you.
Thank you, Deanne. Graham?
For me, it is more around my own thought process of things that pop up in my head as I'm listening, and how to really be fully present. Thank you.
Thank you, Graham. Wayne?
Thank you. For me, I enjoyed the group that I was in, found that I had things in common with everyone within the group. The other thing that I'm reminded of for myself is the importance of how I show up for something like this, the importance of making sure that when I enter this group, that whatever other issues that I'm working through in my life, that I set those aside and really focus on being mindful, being present, and really actively listening. And when I do that, I really get a lot out of the experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. TJ?
Yes, hi Kathy, hi again. I'll say it's active listening is real work, and I should not be ashamed to pull out a pen and paper just to keep up with the content, if that's what I need to do. Yeah. But it's worth it, the work.
Thank you, TJ.
Thank you, Kathy.
Priscilla?
Yes, hi. I found that it felt really good to be able to express myself and be heard, and knowing that there would be no judgment, no one's going to challenge what I'm saying. I found myself writing to help me listen better. So I would love to get to a place where I can do these empathy circles and not write anything. That would let me know I'm really actively listening and paying more attention to not so much every word that the person is saying, but the sentiment, and trying to really understand where they're coming from, what they're feeling. And if they're expressing an unmet need, what is that? And if there's some way that I can show them or state what that need is to do that, I think that's much more valuable than me just regurgitating every word they say.
Thank you. Abiola?
Yes, I had a wonderful time in my group. I was able to, I felt heard, you know, and I felt really present in the conversation. I was able to take away that I don't have to be of the same mindset with the person I'm talking to put myself in their shoes. I just need to listen to what the person is saying and then understand, then I relate. So in the group, it was quite a diverse group, but I had a wonderful time in the group. I felt there. I felt really, truly there. So thank you.
Thank you, Abiola.
You're welcome.
Tracy? Joseph?
For participating in this has really been wonderful. And for the time I had to listen, I felt a connection to the person I listened to at that time. Like I felt connected to the person at that point in time where I had to listen. And taking this back to the real world, every person I need to listen to actually listen, to show empathy. At that time, I need to be connected to them, which means being present, being alive while listening.
Thank you, Joseph. Robin?
Sorry about that. I enjoy the empathy circles because they give me another tool in my work with diversity. Given how polarized our country is right now, given the fact that there are 27 states that have passed legislation or considering passing legislation that bans any kind of talks about racial disparities or economic disparities or anything that has profoundly shaped our country. You know, I'm always looking for tools on how to have these conversations. And I'm really grateful to be in a state that recognizes the importance of healing based on, you know, past and present forms of oppression. And I'm always looking for tools, and I enjoy this because it's one of those tools that can help bring about healing because it creates those safe spaces for people.
Thank you, Robin.
Thank you.
Sandra?
I was struck at first by the time limit to talk, but I actually really liked it because it set aside time for everybody to fully express their thoughts. And then really it made it feel like a gift of listening, that the rest of the people in the room were fully attentive to the speaker. And so I thought that construct was really valuable.
Thank you, Sandra. Donnie?
It really helped me understand and connect with people and just develop my active listening and my foundation for communication. It really helped with acceptance and helped me work towards my psychology major. So thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, Donnie. Susan?
Hi, I really enjoyed this experience, and it was a great way to start my Saturday. I loved the group I was in. It was positive and there was so much kindness. I found that I could feel myself in their shoes and different, you know, things they were saying when they were speaking. And I, you know, found taking notes helped me, you know, not go off on my own little, you know, path in my head. So I was proud to be a part of it.
Thank you. Trevor. Oh, there's Trevor.
Oh, yes. I really appreciate being a part of the circle. My group I thought it was really enlightening to see the underlying connection that we had, and it was really a valuable experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Richard still here? Mauricio?
Thank you very much. I enjoyed my first time. I want to thank, I believe, Edwin that started this course, and everybody else that was the mentors or the facilitators and teaching me something new today, so that, because I feel like what I'm hearing from everybody is that we're going to share this information to help everybody else, and that's what I'm looking for. I love you guys are like the team that I'm looking for for inspiration, for empathy. So thank everybody for coming in today, and I just loved it. I will be back for some more.
Great. How about Kay? Christine? Diane, let's see, Maria.
Yeah, so thanks so much, Kathy, for asking. And thanks so much to Abiola, Bill, Joseph, and Danny, because I had a wonderful experience with them. And in this class, let's say, empathetic class, I learned that if I ask empathetically, I will get empathetic answers, improving the empathetic circle. And I'm very grateful. Thank you for the experience.
Thank you, Maria.
Thank you.
Mary? Mary?
It was really nice to participate in the circle. So nice to hear everybody's perspectives, and then to pick up some little nuggets like empathic distress, which was a new term for me. And then just also to watch myself a little bit when I was doing the reflective listening or the active listening, to notice the degree to which at times my own mind was getting in the way, you know, that impetus to jump in and to connect or to, so just curbing that a little bit. So it was an interesting kind of self-reflective experience as well.
Yeah.
Which, because that jumping in can get in the way of the empathetic connection.
Right. Yeah. Thank you, Mary. Albert?
So, yeah, I came a little later than I would have liked to, and immediately jumped into a group. And so was catching up on what the process is and was. And as I mentioned in the group, just very appreciative that a group of people will come together to practice this, and just hearing each of you speak now, and feeling a sense of delight that so many people from so many different backgrounds will show up and want to practice listening and empathy, and just feel joy and feel a lightness in my heart that you're all here.
Thank you, Albert. Did I get you, Ruth? Okay. Is there anybody I missed besides the facilitators? Okay, great. All right, I'm going to go through the...
Anjali, I think.
Anjali?
And Stephanie,
yeah, it's fine. So I learned a lot from the training, because it helps me see the difference in how I used to interact before, when I used to observe more and understand less. And empathy training helps you understand better. So when you are listening more and observing, I mean, like you're observing as well, but you're listening a whole lot, it really, gives a better understanding of where the other person is coming from. So that's what I'm trying to learn here. Yeah.
Thank you, Anjali.
So we heard from or is there anyone else? We heard from the facilitators at the beginning, and so we're right at the top of the hour. Is there anyone else who's a participant before we close? Okay. Was that it, Kathy?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. So yeah, so thank you everyone for taking part. I'm going to put in a link here to fill out the application. It's the training cafe, the feedback form. So if you just take a second and click on that right now, it'll open up a window, a feedback form. And this is a way for us to stay in contact. There's a link there to the course. There's a link to the Empathy Circle link. You can go there, and that's sort of a gateway there to all the different web pages and resources we have. And then just fill that out, add your email, then we can be in contact. And our next course, we have a cohort starting, training cohort starting next Monday, and that is, as Bill mentioned, that's full. We have another one. It's going to start, I think, in 8 weeks in this time zone. So that's going to be the next one that's available. I think it's November 20th or something like that. So that would be a cohort that you can join. And of course, we have, we'll be here again next week. So you can come and keep practicing those empathic listening skills. Learn, each time you take it, you'll learn a little bit more about how to facilitate an empathy circle, and you get some more practice, because the empathy is very much like a muscle. We're all born with these muscles. Just as a child, you just have muscles, but you can practice them, you can exercise them, and you can strengthen them. That's really what the empathy circle is about, is like strengthening those empathy muscles. And it takes practice to just do it on an ongoing basis. So this goes transparent. Okay. So what we'll do next is, if you'd like to put in one feeling, let's see, what is one feeling you have? Feeling at the moment. And I have joy. I feel very joyful about right now. Just put those feelings in. And if you have your video off, you could turn that on for a second. We like to get a group portrait of us doing jazz hands before we end. So you did a group portrait. It's always fun to put that on the website and get everybody to do your jazz hands, turn your video on if you can. And we will see you next week. And there's also Thursday is the training with Bill. I think he put his link in there too. So
yeah, I'll do that again there.
Yeah. And if you're a facilitator, please stay back for our debrief. So look forward to seeing you again. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Hi, thank you, guys.
Thanks for joining
Bye,
us.
everyone.